it was interesting that, according to the National Weather Service, since they had begun keeping records in Montgomery County, which was one of the counties that was hit hardest, there had never been more than 4 tornadoes confirmed at the same time, and this one was 4. It was 15.
That is crazy.
So just all at once.
Inspired by the adventures of our nurses, therapists, and techs, A Beer with Atlas is the only healthcare traveling, craft beer drinking podcast. Each week, we'll open a few beers, talk about the brewery and the style of beer, and then dive into some research curated specifically for each episode. In the end, we hope each one sounds like a conversation you'd have with your friends while enjoying a few cold ones.
Welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Peter Brady this week. I got a cold. This is me, Brian, but you might not recognize my dulcet tones like normal because I'm kind of scratchy and all over the place.
You're one step away from Wolfman Jack there.
That'd be cool.
Well, the beer might help, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it's probably I'm just thirsty.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. You're parched. So this week we've got a beer from our friend Thomas Piper. I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this. I'd have to go back and look. I believe his brother picked this up for us. It was shortly after the Memorial Day tornadoes in and around Dayton, Ohio. So it was like the Miami Valley. Is it Miami? Let's see, Miami Valley section of Dayton. 14. What was that, Dolan? Did you break something?
No. I just grabbed it too hard.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
Wedding ring. It's new to him.
That's
over
right. Yes. First podcast with Dolan being married. Is not? Was it last week too?
There.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
okay.
was married last week too.
Yeah.
He just didn't clink his ring.
He didn't clink it on there too.
That is one of the best things about having a wedding ring. Is tapping it on the beer bottle or the glass at a bar. Oh, it's so great. Makes everybody mad though. Whatever.
So he sent us these beers. I saw it on Facebook shortly after it came out. In July, it was over the Memorial Day weekend, May 27th. These tornadoes, 15 separate tornadoes hit the Dayton area and caused all kinds of devastation. Then EF4 was the largest one, 170 mile an hour winds. Like it crushed that part of the city.
The second biggest tornado, right? 5 is the...
5's the biggest, yeah. That's the one from like Twister, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The cows. Yeah, so tons and tons of damage. A group of brewers got together called the the Dayton Brewing Alliance, and they brewed these beers. All the proceeds went to the relief effort.
Yeah,
and we got a couple of these. So, fun can. I mean, it reminds me of the old. It is very plain, black and white.
Yep.
They didn't want anything to take away from the beer itself. They talked to one of the guys that helped come up with this idea. He's the co-founder and VP of which one was this brewery?
It was like
Warped
Al Pacino.
Wing.
Warped Wing?
Yeah, that does kind of sound like Al Pacino.
Ooh-ah.
Warped Wing Brewing Company. His name is Nick Bauman, co-founder and VP of Sales and Marketing. Said the can embodies a minimalistic, purposeful, under-designed look as not to overshadow what we are trying to do. This is all about the people in need, our neighbors, many who have lost everything. A bunch of brewers got together, did this, kind of like the Sierra Nevada Resilience. So they brewed. They came up with this very basic recipe. One of the other guys, Branch and Bone Brewing Company, there released the recipe: 2 row malt, a bit of wheat, so just a little bit,
Just a pinch.
just a pinch of wheat,
Yeah.
and a blend of Centennial, Cascade, and Amarillo hops, and they all brewed it their own way.
So with the Resilience one, and I don't remember this. I mean, we went to Crosstree and we tried theirs. Nobody bottled or canned that, right? It wasn't like this.
Sierra Nevada
was it?
did,
They did, yeah.
They did? Mm-hmm. Okay.
but nobody else did that. And they just
Okay, I was
released it
wondering
there.
about that. The other thing I was thinking just off the top of my head as I was listening to you talk about this can, it's under-designed, as they said, but it probably makes it stand out
So
if this was on a shelf because everything else is so overdone now.
Yep.
That your like simplicity just grabs your eye, brings it right in there to this one.
Yep.
It's got the hashtag right on there.
Hashtag Dayton Strong IPA.
And the kind of, I don't know, this is one of those things. It was a bad storm.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that our news cycle is nowadays, something bad happens pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And like in and out of people's consciousness, I think, pretty quick too. So
Right.
this is, at least with the hashtag, that's something I remember hearing in the news and is still stuck in my mind. So kind of a cool callback.
I thought it was interesting as I was doing some research here, and we didn't want to get too heavy with it.
Right.
I think that we wanted to stay as light as possible, honor the beer, honor their,
Their mission.
Exactly, what they wanted to do, and then, kind of just talk about this style and get into whatever research you had. But it was interesting that, according to the National Weather Service, since they had begun keeping records in Montgomery County, which was one of the counties that was hit hardest, there had never been more than 4 tornadoes confirmed at the same time. And this one was 4. It was 15.
That is crazy.
So just all at once.
I mean, living where we do, we get tornadoes, especially in the springtime.
Oh, yeah.
But people get scared of one tornado. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you imagine 14 at one time?
All at the same time.
Just rolling through,
Yep.
just devastating everything.
It lasted 2 hours and 35 minutes as it moved across that section of the state.
And that's the other thing. Tornadoes generally
Wow.
move fast.
Fast.
And, over and within a few minutes.
I couldn't imagine being a weather guy trying to cover this. One pops up, and then another pops up, and
Yeah.
another pops up, and
You're kind of hoping no one's there to listen to you, that everybody's hiding and
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
taking cover.
they did their own. So in July, they kind of kicked this off. So this beer was released in August in cans.
Okay.
And Warped Wing Brewing Company was the one that canned it. They used their canning line and stuff, and this was the only brewery that canned it. The other ones did it just there at their own brewery. But in July, it was called the Dayton Strong Beer Bash, and it was held on the grounds of the Carillon Historical Park and the Carillon Brewing Company. I hope I'm saying that right. Carillon. Carillon.
Yeah.
Yep. The festival saw 30 Ohio brewers pouring beer, with all the proceeds going to the recovery efforts.
That's pretty cool. So a little
That's
beer
super
fest.
cool. Yeah, just in honor of that, honor of the beer, and with the proceeds going to the
Yeah.
relief effort.
I don't know. It's a fun way to do some charity stuff,
Yep.
People, if you can, it's easier to give a few bucks to do something and have fun and, celebrate a little bit too.
I think it's interesting that whenever something like this happens, or this has kind of become we talked about it a little bit earlier today, this has become a thing for brewers. Like, they band together, and
Yeah.
that it's a close community anyway, generally.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things. When something bad happens, you can count on the breweries to help out.
And they really are representations of the town, or, groups of population of the city. They all have their clientele, their regulars, and, they become whatever. And
Yep.
it's just kind of a mirror of the area. So it makes sense.
What do you think of the actual IPA itself?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I can't smell or taste anything very much. Now, to me, it almost tasted floral, what I could taste. But that might just be my chapstick flavor.
That could be your chap. It's got a little bit. Dolan, what do you?
And do you guys have floaties?
I hope so.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, I was just concerned that my glass wasn't clean.
Well, that could be it too.
That also could be it. No, I washed them. What you did after that, I don't know. But
From my healthy palate here, let's
Yeah.
go from a non-cold standpoint. It is a very easy drinking, approachable IPA.
it has a little bit of bitterness to me, more than some that we try.
Sure.
But it's not like overpowering, but it is there. It tells me it's an IPA. But
Yep.
it's got like a sweetness to it, I think, from what I can tell.
I like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. I think the sweetness is what it is. Maybe a little citrus. I don't know.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, it's not, you can't totally see through it, but I can definitely see light refracting through it.
Like,
I can
look at
see
the
your
bottom
hand.
of my glass.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got the bottom of the can, too.
Oh,
That's probably one
yes.
of those reasons.
Yep.
And
So,
we'll do this one. We'll just like activate it a little bit here.
Yep.
yeah.
There.
It's interesting. So if you go on Untapped, and I won't get too far into this until the end, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of the different breweries. So Branch and Bone, Ale-Matic, Artisan Ales, Moeller, Brew Barn, in Troy, and Yellow Springs Brewery all made different versions of this.
They all sound pretty small.
They kind of do.
Those names.
Yeah, they kind of do. So it'll be interesting. I'm not finding just the regular one here, the Warped Wing, but I'll continue to look here.
Okay. Well, while you're looking, I'll do a little of my stuff, and kind of like what we talked about before. There were some obvious avenues to do some research on, but I didn't want to get too heavy. So I did a little bit just about the city itself, just to kind of showcase the town, some of the things it's known for, and then I've got my deep dive stuff a little bit later on. But Dayton is known as the Gem City.
Gem?
Yeah, like GEM, like gemstones.
Oh, okay, yep.
And one of the breweries, I couldn't find out. I didn't know who made this beer. So I Googled, I think, what you had on the list, and it pulled up this brewery. And on their cans, there was a big diamond right on the can labels on all their beers.
Okay.
So I thought that was cool. But from what I could tell, the name of the nickname doesn't come from gemstones.
Oh.
Which is weird, right?
Weird.
So the theory is that in the early to mid 1800s, there was a famous racehorse in that area.
Okay.
And the name of the horse was Gem, Gem, and it won like tons of races. And it was real. It was like a town celebrity because horse racing back then was a really big deal. Not like it is now. Like hardly anybody cares or pays attention. But back then, they were like celebrities.
It was a big deal. Yeah.
Everybody knew about them.
Yep.
And in this area, there was this horse, basically the Seabiscuit of the Dayton area.
Oh.
His name was Gem.
Gem.
So that's where they think some of that started. In late 1840s, a guy that lived there, his name was Major William, I got to be careful with this one, D. Bickham. I didn't want to switch the names or letters around. He began a campaign to call Dayton the Gem City. So he referenced this poem that was kind of famous in the area that talked about the horse and stuff. And I guess that's kind of how it stuck, maybe. That's one interpretation.
Okay.
They're not known for having diamond mines or anything like that, so that seems to be plausible to me is why they would call it that.
Was there a girl band in the 80s that had a successful cartoon?
That was Gem with a J.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gem and the holograms you're talking about with the computer.
Carry on.
Yeah. We had Gem at my house.
Really?
Yep.
No. I used to tease my brother that he liked Gem.
Oh.
Because it was on right after Transformers.
Yeah, that's probably maybe how my sister saw it. But it was like a 80s version of Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They made a movie, a Gem movie, last couple years.
I heard it wasn't very good.
Don't watch it. You don't need to see it.
Remember what the bad guys were called in that? The bad band that would always fight
No.
Gem and the holograms?
I don't. I bet if you said it, I would remember.
The Misfits.
Oh, like the real Misfit band.
The Misfits, yeah. But not cool like the real Misfits.
Yeah.
The girl Misfits.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Well, it's also known as Little Detroit because back then it was a big place for manufacturing centers making stuff.
Okay.
And it was close to Detroit, Michigan. So they looked at that. It's also known as the birthplace of aviation.
The Wright brothers lived there?
That's where they were. That's where they grew up.
Oh.
They were born and raised a little bit in the Dayton area, which is why Dayton University is the Dayton, I think, Flyers.
The Flyers, yes.
And so I did a little more stuff on that.
Huh.
There's a huge Air Force base there.
Okay.
It's called the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Makes sense.
And it's one of the biggest ones in the country. I think that's where maybe the Blue Angels are housed out of.
This sounds familiar. Like I've heard that before. I've heard of that Air Force base before.
They also have an Air Force Research Laboratory, and there's the National Air and Space Intelligence Center there. It's called NASIC, N-A-S-I-C.
Okay.
That's all out of this Air Force base. So Air Force space stuff, technology is huge in Dayton. That's one of the main employers of folks, and has been kind of just tied back to because of the Wright brothers, which is weird that your town 100 and something years later is known for something that some famous guys lived here but didn't actually make their plane or take
they didn't
their
actually
flight.
do it there. Wasn't it like in the Carolinas?
Yeah, it was in the Carolinas. Yeah,
That's what I
by
thought.
near Devil Kill Hills or something like that in North Carolina, which is why on their license plates they have home of flight or something like that with the airplane on it.
Interesting.
So, known for that area there. Something else I thought was kind of fun. Dayton has kind of a sports history. And they had a minor league team. It's called the Dayton Dragons, and they're like a single-A team for Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
They're the first and only baseball team, any level, minor leagues to the professionals, that when they announced they were going to have a team, hey, we got a team now, they sold out the entire season of season tickets before the season even started.
Wow.
Like every ticket to every game was sold.
Sold out.
Yeah, first time and only time that's happened. Dayton Flyers, like I said, is one of the Division I school there. They also have Wright State.
Right, like the
W-R-I-G-H-T.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, so, like, they
Man,
have...
they are all in on this.
Right?
Holy cow.
Right?
Right.
Dad pun. That was unintended. So I wrote down just a few of the famous people that went to these schools to see how they hit your craw.
Okay.
Wright State has Nicole Scherzinger.
No.
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 She is a singer and a dancer and a model. I think she's a judge on The Voice or the America something or other. She was in a all-girl band that was pretty popular. I think Puffy Diddy, he like had a television show on MTV, like a reality show about making a band, and she was one of the people that got into that and became famous. Carlos Pena,
Yes.
baseball player.
Yeah.
He went to school at Wright State. And then this NBA name, which is just fun to say, he wasn't any sort of great player. Vitaly Potapinko.
Potapinko.
He played for the Celtics mostly.
Carlos Pena played for the Cubs for about 2 short years.
Yeah, he played for Tampa Bay and the Tigers. He's been around a while. Dayton Flyers. This one, a little bit more pedigree for the sports names.
Okay.
This is like really where it hammers out. Chuck Noll,
Okay, yeah.
coach of the Steelers forever. John Gruden went here and played there.
Old Chucky.
Really?
And then this one was my favorite, Dan Patrick.
Really?
He went there.
Oh.
I love Dan Patrick.
I do like me some Dan Patrick.
I liked him on SportsCenter with him and Keith, even though I understood 10% of what they were talking about.
Doesn't matter.
That was the fun. And then I still like to watch him. Sometimes if I take a lunch here over lunch, I'll watch his YouTube channel and get his podcast that he does when they have video.
I'm spoiled with the XM radio. I love my XM radio.
Yeah.
Okay. But when I drive my wife's car, she has the just regular radio. We don't have XM in that car or whatever. So I have to listen to just terrestrial radio, which bums me out. But one of the local stations carries Dan Patrick. So if I leave after 7 o'clock, I can hear Dan Patrick. And that makes me happy.
And it's fun.
I love him.
I like him too. He's one of my favorites. And
The Danettes.
he has a good mix of sports and life and some funny stuff. And, he's friends with Adam Sandler and some of those guys. So he's always got celebs showing up. And I don't know. I like it. And so that's where he's from. And so I wrote that down.
You're familiar with the Billy Ripken Fleer card, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So any of you that are our age that are familiar with baseball cards from Fleer 88?
88, 89, somewhere in there,
the famous Billy Ripken card that has bad words on the handle of his bat, on the knob of his bat. Billy Ripken was on the show and autographed a card for him, and it says he autographed to Bill Ripken, "Yes, I am." So if you know what that card is, then
that's funny.
That's awesome.
Everybody I knew wanted one of those cards.
There are websites dedicated because there was the card with the profanity on it.
Yeah.
And then
the black box one, there was like a gray
black box, gray box, black scribble, white box. Like, go look it up. There's probably 18 variants to it.
And I had the most common one.
The one that actually said the word.
No. I had the black box.
Oh, the black box.
I don't think I knew anybody that had the actual card. Oh, man. And for a while, it was worth a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Now it's like 10 cents.
Yeah.
Billy's no cow.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Okay, sorry, Dolan, for a little sports talk there. It was baseball.
Yep.
First soapbox derby was held in Dayton.
Oh.
And then they're known for their inventions there because we were talking about manufacturing and stuff. They have the... Oh, I didn't write the name of it down. I think I did, though, on this page. Let me look.
I really like this IPA.
I was just thinking this myself. Like, we opened a second can because he sent us 2 cans. I like it a lot.
I really do.
Super easy to drink. Yeah, it's nice.
National Cash Register Company. So,
like the big cash register with the buttons.
The one you think of, ding, that was made in Dayton. Hydraulic pumps were like invented and created there.
Really?
For water stuff. And then they made code breaking machines in World War II. They were manufactured there. Mm-hmm. And the pop top. Like what we're doing on beers right now.
See, that's
Created and invented in Dayton.
Code breaking, hydraulics, pale in comparison to
cash register. I mean, those are fine.
Well, I don't know. Those are things that changed industries forever.
Yeah, you're right. The beer top did.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Change industry.
Yes, it did.
Could you
life.
imagine having to like just peel back to like old school on those steel cans?
No,
Or
thank you.
The whole top comes off.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, this is way better.
way better,
More potable.
groundbreaking.
So that's my Dayton history for you. That is groundbreaking.
Hydraulic pumps.
Yeah, who cares?
Cares about any of that?
Cash
breaking
registers,
breaking
whatever.
code probably saved a lot of lives, but the pop top saved a ton of beers.
Yep.
It saved a lot of fingernails.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's probably ruined a few things too, but whatever. That's not on the beer top. That's on the
right.
people consuming what's
Exactly.
inside.
Yeah. So as you were reading through your stuff, I was looking at the can, just the white can. On one side, it says, "Proceeds from the sale of this beer go to the ongoing efforts to help Dayton area people in need after the devastating tornadoes that passed through here on Memorial Day weekend, 2019." And then on virtually every website I was on, this phrase, which is on the other side of the can, was printed: "Through darkness comes light, through fear comes compassion, through tragedy comes triumph."
Yeah.
So kind of their mantra as they kind of picked up the pieces after the tornadoes there.
Yeah. And the first line of that really sticks out to me because when you're talking 2.5 hours of tornadoes, oh my gosh.
It started at like 10 o'clock at night, so I
Yeah.
mean it was dark.
In the middle of the night. Those are the worst. Those are the most deadly ones. Are the ones that are at nighttime.
Right.
Because usually people are sleeping and they
nothing
don't
to
have
wake people
no
up.
idea that it's happening.
Now with the advent of cell phones and stuff, like there's like alarms and stuff like that. But
Unless you're like my house and you're not allowed to keep your phone in the bedroom because it makes noise or something. I get a lot of notifications for my silly memes, and it keeps my wife awake, so I cannot keep my phone in my room.
you don't just put it on nighttime mode?
No. What's nighttime mode? I
You
don't know about
you
this.
can set it up to where no notifications will go off except for the emergency ones.
Right. Or if
That
I
sounds
call
too easy,
if I
guys.
call you twice. So it says all calls, texts, everything else is silenced unless I call you twice in a row, and then it goes and you're one of my like main contacts.
Yeah.
Then you will get that call.
You might have just saved my marriage, guys. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
this tonight.
Yeah, so that and it does Amber Alerts and like emergency
Weather stuff.
weather stuff.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It also has this.
Thanks
little-
for the knowledge.
Yeah, I'll show you how to do it.
All right.
It plays this. My wife is super annoyed by it, but it plays the go to sleep song at 10 o'clock every night for me because it knows that I like to have 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And so at 10 o'clock it goes.
That's
Dun,
your
dun,
reminder?
dun. Yeah, it plays the go to sleep song, and then I know, okay, time for me to go to sleep.
I could just
then it-
picture you like finishing your warm milk with your footy jammies on and hopping into bed.
Yep.
That's great.
His Cubs footy jammies.
Oh yeah.
How do you know?
It looks like a baseball uniform. Just one piece, footies, stirrups on there and everything. That is awesome.
Don't judge me.
Hey, if they made them for the Royals, I'd get a pair.
Yeah. Dolan's 100% right. This is probably one of the nicest, smoothest, most approachable IPAs that we've ever done on this show.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really easy, and I'm very, very particular about IPAs because I just don't like a lot of the grass trimming pine cone stuff
yeah,
that
pine
Brian
cone.
likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely not an Odell or Pliny the Elder type of IPA. This is gateway IPA at its best.
Did it say what the ABV is?
ABV 6%, 24 IBUs.
Not bad.
So not bad.
So
at
not a
all.
lot of bitterness.
Not a lot of bitterness. You know what though? As we've done these, you could have told me it was 60 IBUs, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Like my pal, I can't tell. I just can't.
I think you can. You can tell. You might not know
Maybe
10 to 20 or whatever, but you'll know if it's more than 50.
80
I guarantee
or
you.
above.
Oh yeah.
This might be weird, and maybe I don't know, but this is just how I can tell. Is after I swallow the beer, like that final breath, the breathe out. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, wow, that was really bitter, or wow, that wasn't bitter.
or it was just
Yeah.
nice and smooth.
Yeah, because that's usually the last thing that you're tasting. So yeah, that makes sense.
I got one from Odell that will taste like pine cones. I'll bring it for you.
Which one is it?
Oh, great.
Is it the Rapture? The double IPA? Is it Rapture? Rapture? Whatever.
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's
a fresh grind.
Like eating pine cones.
Yeah, that's a good one. Bring those in.
Good. I don't think good is what I would describe.
You know
it
how
as,
they
but-
have like safe haven laws now for babies? You can drop them at the fire station. You can bring those hoppy beers to my desk, and I'll make sure they're taken care of.
Speaking of which, we've got an upcoming episode where one of our travelers, Mary Mitchell, who is in the Northeast, travels with Braden Boakes, sent us. I put out a call on Facebook. There was this one particular beer that I wanted, just because two of my worlds will have collided when we do this podcast in the upcoming weeks. The beer's called Action Figures.
Yep.
And it's a beer where it's a pale ale, and on the can itself it looks like an action figure. It looks like a G.I. Joe. And I thought, what better? For those of you that don't know, like, I'm still 12 years old. I still collect action figures.
Yeah.
First place I go when I go to Walmart, Target is the toy section. Like,
Right.
that's just my thing.
Yeah.
And so two of my worlds will collide. Anyway, she got us this beer just not too long ago. So, but sent us 5 IPAs. There was a 5-pack.
Nice.
She tried one. She thought, I'm going to give this a try. Definitely wasn't her thing. And she said, I'm just going to put it in the box and you guys can drink
Like
it.
an actual 5-pack or a 5-pack because you drank one already?
She drank one already
Oh,
and
she
didn't like
drank
it.
one.
And she's
Oh,
like,
gotcha.
maybe you guys would like this. I'm like, well, that's good because we'll drink
She's
anything.
right.
Yeah.
We will. Well, you guys ready for this? I wasn't sure where this research was going to take me.
Okay.
You know, and I didn't want to get dark or heavy, and I wanted to keep something light, entertaining. And I thought, okay, well, what's entertaining? Take your mind off of stuff. TV and movies, right? So
Okay.
I thought, okay, let's just see who. I had kind of already gone down the road of famous sports folks at the universities. And I thought, well, let's just see who's from Dayton.
I was thinking you were going to do the movie Twister.
No, I mean,
I mean,
too predictable, and I wanted to keep
Right.
away from the tornado.
oh, gotcha.
So what I did was I just looked at Dayton and I saw who's like kind of from there, been there, born there, raised there, that sort of stuff. And I came up with 3 names that are all connected.
Oh, boy.
And I just went through their like filmographies basically.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit you up with the names, what they're famous for, and then we can just talk about the ones that stand out to you and how you got memories or how you know them.
Okay.
The first one, Rob Lowe from the Dayton
Really?
area. Yeah. First movie that I remember hearing about him in was Outsiders,
Yes.
right? And then he's in St. Elmo's Fire. He's also in Wayne's World,
Yep.
Tommy Boy, Austin Powers franchise. He was in the HBO movie Behind the Candelabra, Michael Douglas.
Yes.
He's in this terrible, I have never seen it, but I hate the song, Christmas Shoes movie on the Hallmark Channel.
No.
Also one called The Christmas Blessing. And now he seemed to have kind of like peaked as far as what, his celebrity is worth.
Yeah.
Because now he's in movies called Drew Peterson Untouchable and Prosecuting Casey Anthony.
Oh.
But he still looks good. Dude does not age.
No, he doesn't age at all.
He does not age. However, he has swung his career over into TV.
Yes.
So he was an SNL host in the 90s 3 times.
Okay.
He was on West Wing for a lot of episodes.
That was I thought he was on like some Law and Order type of show.
He was
too.
on that. He was on Parks and Rec for like 70-something episodes.
Yeah.
He was in Californication for a while with David Duchovny.
Duchovny, yes.
And then he had his own show on, I think it was A&E, maybe, called The Low Files, which was basically a straight rip of the X-Files.
Okay.
But it's him and his 2 kids going out and looking for like paranormal stuff because he's a big paranormal buff. So they went and looked for Bigfoot and they looked for UFOs.
I would watch that.
I did. It was great. I liked it. And it kind of made me like him more because his persona seems kind of snooty maybe. And his kids just blew him up because his kids are like college-age kids.
Awesome.
They just made fun of him the whole time.
Good.
And it was funny. And it was good. And it was, paranormal related, which is I'm all about.
All I get with instantly with him is brothers don't shake hands, brothers hug.
That's right. Brother's got a hug. Don't
Tommy
we?
Boy? No.
He's like, what?
No.
Huh? He zoned out. He was
Nope.
thinking about
No.
ghost stories or
I
something.
was looking at the Atlas shoes picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is captivating. Next person, Allison Janney. She's from this area.
I like her.
I like her too.
Yeah.
In my house, it's run by a almost 4-year-old now, so most of the movies I see are animated, and holy cow, does she do a lot of those.
Voiceover?
So, yeah, we're going to get to those. First thing that she really starred in, and not really starred, but like appeared in an actual movie, Howard Stern's Private Parts. Remember that movie?
I do. Uh-huh.
She was in that for a minute. She was in a movie called 10 Things I Hate About You.
I remember this.
American Beauty. That was popular.
I love that film.
Then she goes into the animated stuff. And that's all I wrote down pretty much after that. Finding Nemo. Finding Dory. Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Minions. The Addams Family, the new one that just came out.
Oh, yeah.
She did voiceover for Frasier. You know, like when people would call in. It was always celebrities or famous people calling him, saying, "Oh, my name's Greg, and this is my whatever."
Right.
She's done The Simpsons, Family Guy, Robot Chicken, American Dad, DuckTales, King of the Hill. That's a lot of voiceover. Video games. She's done voices in video games. Some show called Mom. I'm not familiar with, but I know it's on CBS.
It's
I think.
on.
She's been in a bunch of episodes of that, and of course, The West Wing.
Yes. Isn't she actually the mom on that mom show?
Yeah, she's the mom to
Yeah.
Allison. No, Allison Janney's her, and then she's the mom to. Oh, what's her name? Gosh,
To the girl.
she's got blonde hair. People think she's dumb, but she's not. Oh, this is
Because
gonna
she
drive me
plays
crazy.
dumb characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is her name? I can see her face. Oh well. She's also in I, Tonya. Have you seen that?
It won some awards.
Yeah, I wanted to. I haven't seen it yet. Did you see it?
No, it's on Netflix, right?
I don't know.
It's where have I heard of I, Tonya? Didn't they do an Atlas Now streaming on it?
Probably yes.
I think they did an Now streaming
Yeah,
on it.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But she's Tonya Harding's mom in that movie. Last name, Martin Sheen. You know about him?
Oh, yes.
His real name is Ramon Gerardo Antonio Estevez. His dad was from Spain. His mom was from Ireland. And they met in Europe.
That's a lot of names.
And they moved to the States, immigrated.
Okay.
And that's why his son, one of them is Charlie Sheen, and the other is Emilio Estevez. That's how that works out.
He went back to his roots.
Guess what? Martin Sheen's dad, when he moved to the Dayton area, he worked at the National Cash Register factory. So he was building those cash registers.
Yes.
Nice.
So he was in, I read this book in high school, Catch-22. He was in The Badlands, which, are you familiar with the Badlands movie? Amazing movie from like 71.
Okay.
It's basically the Charles Starkweather story.
Okay.
You know who he is?
I've heard the name.
So he was basically became infamous at the same time that James Dean was becoming popular.
Okay.
Charles Starkweather was a dude from Lincoln who ended up killing his girlfriend's parents and brother, and then went on a spree and killed a bunch of people in Lincoln, and then went west and killed a bunch of people out in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, and then killed some people in Wyoming, and then got caught.
Wow.
He was like the first spree killer, and was young and like maybe 20, 21-ish, kind of good looking. His girlfriend was like 15. She was one of the first women in Nebraska to be put on death row. People talk about kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde scenario. This was in the late, I think it was the 50s, late 50s, early 60s, somewhere in there. Pretty sure 50s. And oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, thank God for DNA testing, because back then, spree killing would have been easy.
Yeah.
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 And it basically was. But they basically figured out a lot of times, and this is my schooling coming out, but like a vast majority of the time when you're murdered, it's by someone that you know. And that's how they figured out it was him right away, pretty much, because she wasn't dead. She was missing, and her whole family was dead. And then they started kind of spotting him around. He went and robbed a gas station on the edge of Lincoln. Like if you're coming in on Highway 6 into Lincoln, like right over there, he robbed one there.
Okay.
And killed the attendant and got like $5 or something stupid. And then he went down to Bennett, Nebraska, and did some stuff down there. Came back in. He was just like hiding out in the middle of Lincoln, and then killed a guy, stole the car, drove off. And I think they were arrested in Wyoming, came back, and he was one of the few people to put to the electric chair in Nebraska. But it was there's a bunch of, almost a whole album of Bruce Springsteen's called Nebraska that's based about this guy and the story.
Really?
And this this was his first big movie, Martin Sheen playing the Starkweather character. So it's a dark history, but it's like Lincoln's kind of claim to fame as far as like the dark true crime stuff that's popular now. Apocalypse Now. Mm-hmm. He's in Gandhi, The Dead Zone, Cronenberg horror movie.
I love The Dead Zone.
Firestarter. Wall Street.
He was the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was Charlie Sheen's dad.
Guess what? He's also in with Charlie Sheen. Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh, wow. That's not nearly as good as Wall Street, but
No.
equally.
I saw one of those in the theater. Which one do you think it was?
Oh, I bet you saw Part 2.
Yeah, I was 8 years old. I was not rolled into Wall Street. JFK, he's in Gettysburg. He was in Spawn. And then probably my favorite on this list, The Departed. Yeah. Oh, man.
Jeez.
Spoilers. Gets thrown off the... Amazing Spider-Man.
Which one?
I don't know. He plays Uncle Ben.
He was Uncle Ben, yeah. Okay, so when Uncle Ben dies, that's
Yep.
right. That's right.
And then he was in another one of my... It's a terrible movie, but I love it. Pop Star, Never Stop Stopping.
No.
It is the Lonely Island's most recent movie.
That's right. Okay.
That's not the Jose Canseco one. He's also the voice of or been in 52 documentaries.
That
So
makes
he's
sense.
like the narrator for... That's a lot. 52?
You want that kind of voice in your documentary, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then his TV career started out in the mid-'60s. He was on Flipper, which is a show about a dolphin, Dolan. That was really smart. Columbo,
Yeah.
Peter Falk. He was on Mission Impossible. He was in The Outer Limits. Then in the 90s, he was on Murphy Brown and won like a SAG award. He was in Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, yeah.
He was on West Wing as
Yep.
the president.
He was the president.
Won a Golden Globe for that. And as did Rob Lowe, by the way.
That one keeps coming up.
West Wing, yeah.
Yeah.
That's our connection. All three of these people were on the West Wing.
Gotcha.
And they didn't like go into the show like saying, "Oh, we're from the same town. Let's make a TV show."
Oh, okay.
You know, like Always Sunny or something, where they knew a bunch of each other beforehand.
Yep.
They just happened to all be from the same area and work on like one of the most popular TV shows of all time.
Did they put that together once they started, or I mean, did they actually know each other beforehand?
I don't know that none of them ever worked with each other before that, from what I could tell.
Interesting.
Or really, they're all kind of staggered. Like Martin Sheen's the oldest, then Allison Janney, then Rob Lowe. So they weren't even like really coming up at the same time.
Gotcha.
And now he's on something on Netflix, Grace and Frankie, with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, which is in its like 6th season.
That's an interesting cast.
It's kind of a fun story. Grace and Frankie are the two ladies, and they are friends, and they become even more friends because their husbands, Martin Sheen and Sam Waterston, the guy from Law & Order, basically decide that they're in love with each other.
Whoa.
And get out of the marriages and marry each other. So then Grace and Frankie are left like, okay, now we've been married to these dudes for 40 years. What do we do now?
Huh.
And then they have a whole bunch of like, oh, we're starting our life over adventures. And it's a pretty popular show on Netflix.
That's why I always thought West Wing was always better because of the president that they had. The guy playing the president was better, right?
Yeah.
I never bought into 24 because the president was Pedro Serrano,
Oh, yeah.
right? Couldn't buy into that because Pedro, well, first of all, wasn't born here in the States, so I mean.
So you knew. You're
I
like,
just
well,
knew, right?
you couldn't get over that.
Joe Boo needs a refill. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Regardless of Kiefer Sutherland and everything else, but West Wing. I mean that he Martin Sheen's probably is kind of. I don't want to say regal. How about
Presidential's a
presidential?
term.
Yeah, as they come, I would think.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna play the president, like that's the dude to do it.
He's a big proponent of like Earth and like global warming and stuff. He's kind of an activist. I guess the other thing about the West Wing and why it ties everybody together is one of those shows that it was all about the dialogue, right? So the guy that wrote it also did a show afterwards. It was like Studio City in the Sunset Strip or something. It was basically like a backstage of a Saturday Night Live type show.
Oh.
And that was on a couple years after West Wing was over, and most of the same people went to work for him because of the dialogue. Just actors loved it.
Yep.
It was, you got a lot to say. It was a lot of walk and talks on West Wing. There's tons of dialogue back and forth, and that's what this guy's known for. The guy that show creator and writer was known for writing amazing dialogue.
Interesting.
And he does a one of those things on. It's like called Masterclass. You see him on if you watch
Yes.
YouTube. He has one basically teaching you how to write dialogue. He's like, you have to write like how people talk. You can't, frame it any other way. And he teaches you how to do that.
So weird. We were just having that conversation.
We were, yeah. We were
About
just
Masterclass.
no about writing like you talk.
Oh,
I tend to when I write like I talk, and so I write and run on sentences and stuff. And
yeah.
So very very similar conversation.
Yeah, and it works out, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah. If you want to sound like me, make a lot of grammatical errors and run on sentences.
There you go.
You'll sound just like me. So
So that's my Dayton area, keeping it light, West Wing connection.
Interesting
research.
I would never have thought we would end up at the West.
I didn't think I was going to end up there either until the second person showed up, and I was like, Allison Janney was on there.
Wait a minute.
Martin Sheen was definitely on there. Oh my gosh, they're all on it. Same
And now
time.
Rob Lowe.
And Rob Lowe.
All right.
Yep.
So the old Untapped says 807 check-ins.
Yeah,
But
very
this-
small.
The canned version of this has only been around for for 2 months now.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot of these cans left, I'm guessing.
No.
As of recording date or as of...
As of recording date, they only produced 1,000 cases of this.
Oh, geez.
So in the canned version.
Yeah.
So of that. So we were pretty lucky to get the 2 cans.
For
we
sure.
got. So, but yeah, 807 check-ins. What do you think we're at?
I think it's going to be 3.62.
I think it's going to go higher just because of what it's for. So
A little heart in the vote.
a
huh?
little heart in the vote. I think probably like a 4-2.
You're right in the middle. It's 384. So
That's probably about where I would go. If I could taste it, maybe I'd go higher.
I think just from an approachability standpoint, I would encourage this type of style. Maybe I mean this in an IPA, just because IPAs are generally not approachable. Generally,
Not
a new person.
Not hazy ones. And this was not a hazy IPA.
new.
So.
So I would do this. I do a 4 on this all day just to get some just so people would think, oh, maybe not that they would look at my reading and think, oh my gosh, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. You know what I'm
This
saying.
is puts butts in the seats. This
Yes.
kind of IPA, like you could, anybody can get to this one, I would say.
Yeah.
See, I think I would have done see, if I'm just basing it pure on the beer, they're probably like 3.75. But because of the heart
Yeah.
in my vote, I would have gone 4.
And that's the fun of Untapped. You can really assign anything to your check-in as to why, and put your thoughts on there. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Thomas, thank you so much. I really I appreciate you getting these beers to us so we could do this. And
I bet we're the only people in Nebraska drinking this thing.
we are. Yeah. So our friends will be very jealous when they see this on the
Yep.
Untapped, I hope. So I wish we had more of this, but I'm sure we've got other beers. So
I know we have other beers.
we have a lot of
Yeah.
other beers. Brian, we're not going anywhere for a while.
Let's have another beer.
Oh, wait, I almost forgot.
Thank you for listening to A Beer with Atlas. Special thanks to our brand team for producing the show. Each episode of A Beer with Atlas is powered by Atlas MedStaff, an industry leader in travel healthcare staffing.